Hey guys, back with another VeriCoin Hangout. I'm here with developer Doug, Effects to Cause, and Will, who is SoCal Online. And we're going to basically give a rundown of the timeline of the MintPal hack, just so everyone knows what happened. We'll talk about why we did what we did and what the other options were. And then we're going to go over the questions that were asked on the subreddit for this hangout. So if you have any questions, feel free before the end of the show to go to the subreddit and ask the questions. By the way, Doug, you should tweet this from the VeriCoin account, the hangout, if you could.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, basically what happened was I woke up on Sunday morning with a voicemail from Will saying, "Hey man, MintPal is trying to contact me. They said they got hacked." Okay, so this voicemail was from 8+ hours before, I guess. And so I immediately said, okay, I guess I should try to contact SoCal and figure out what's going on. And I got onto IRC and noticed I had a bunch of messages from a guy from MintPal. And I asked him what's going on, and he said, go look at the rich list. And I did, and I noticed there are 2 new people with a combination of about 8 million VeriCoin. And he proceeded to tell me they were hacked and they lost these coins and they want to know what we should do. And they didn't suggest, anything actually. So I said, okay, I'm going to talk to the other developers about this, and we're going to try to figure out what we can do. So I called up Doug, and we discussed it. We knew there were somewhere around 8 million coins that had been moved to basically 2 wallets. And the options, as we saw it, was we could do nothing, which would essentially allow one person that could do whatever they wanted with the coin. They could either sell them all right then, drop the price down, or they could hold them in a cold wallet for a long time and just let them sit, or they could possibly use them to do a 51% attack and basically buy things or use Veribit or deposit them to an exchange several times and have them count and then sell them and basically just use those stolen coins infinitely and do whatever they want, basically. Because when you have 51% of the stake, it's essentially like having 51% of mining for Bitcoin, for example. And everyone knows the old cex.io, which is a big mining pool for Bitcoin. The previous owners of that exchange, 51% attacked and double spent their own coins on a gambling website and basically made a ton of free Bitcoin. And by free, I mean they stole it using that attack method. So, one thing is, we could have done nothing, allow that to happen. The second thing we could have done is we could have done a similar thing to what Liberty Coin did with the developer's pre-mine, which is when the developer disappeared, they took the code and they basically blocked any transactions coming from the address of the pre-mine. And that works if you have time on your hands. And they were able to do it because they didn't mention that they're going to do it, and they sort of just released it, and the new wallet didn't allow the developer to access this pre-mine. Now, you could say, okay, well, why didn't VeriCoin do this with these stolen coins? Well, the thing is, as soon as we let anyone know that we know that they're stolen coins, that the person that stole the coins can do whatever they want with it. They can take those coins and they can send them to 1,000 different wallets, and then instead of blocking 2 wallets, we have to block 1,000 wallets. And it's really hard to track them. Basically, that would have been impossible if the hacker was smart and moved the coins in time. Not only that, but they would only have as much time. They would have as much time as it took for 51% of the wallets on that network to move over to the new version of the wallet. So basically, we decided that there's no way we'd be able to quickly block these stolen coins from being on the network in time for it to be useful. There's a big difference between how basically the situation we had and Liberty Coin had. So that wasn't really something that was feasible to do. Yeah, we could have let the hacker have those coins. Then they could have easily attacked as soon as the network stake weight went below 8 million, which has happened several times. So the third option we saw was, okay, well, first I took a look at the Block Explorer and took a look at every transaction since the hack, and I noticed that besides staking and besides some of my own transactions, the amount of coins that were moved was less than around 4,000 US dollars worth. So, $4,000 is a lot of money, but it's a lot less money than $2 million. And I decided, after talking to MintPal said they would reimburse any lost coins. And instead of trying to save MintPal, the whole idea was, okay, if we go back a few $1,000s a transaction and a few, stake blocks, you could potentially completely undo everything, and it's almost like nothing happened back then. And we decided that would be the best thing to do because, one, you get rid of the possibility for someone to be able to 51% attack easily without spending their own money to buy the coin. And we essentially make it so the blockchain is just a little bit behind, as if the time that it took between the hack and now didn't occur. And we thought about the implications, and of course, no one has ever done this before. But if you think about it, no one's had the situation where they had to even think of this option before. No one has ever stolen 30% of a proof of stake coin and had the ability to attack the coin before because of it. So we were basically placed in a very precarious situation. We could either try to protect the integrity of the coin in terms of the blockchain. We don't manipulate the blockchain at all, and that would surely, if the hacker wanted to, could instantly destroy the coin by either dumping it, which we weren't so concerned about, but more importantly, could 51% attack and double spend those coins, which would make VeriCoin worthless. Or we could preserve the integrity of the coin in regards to who owns the coin and make sure the people that actually own the coin because they mined it or because they paid for it still own the coin. And it's a really sticky situation because, no one's done this before. We're the only coin to have successfully reversed a transaction like this. And a lot of the merits of cryptocurrency say you shouldn't do this kind of stuff. But, crypto isn't very old. Who knows if this is going to be something that happens more? It certainly won't be by us, but the paradigm is not set in stone yet, and I think in certain situations it might be that this is something that can happen and maybe should happen in certain situations. So, for example, if this were Bitcoin or a coin that had the volume of Bitcoin, this would be impossible because people are sending coins all the time in much higher transaction volumes, and they're buying tangible items that could be shipped, and you can't reverse something if people are, lose a physical item. But we sort of wagered the fact that there's only 4 places that accept VeriCoin, and I contacted them. And I contacted the ones that were online and that accepted payments for things online, and none of them had transactions in that time. So we thought, okay, MintPal offered and said they would cover any expenses incurred by other exchanges or other companies. So, I don't think it will be a very big financial loss to whoever might be affected by a lost transaction because we reverted the blockchain. And so that's basically how we made our decision. We wanted to protect the people that own the coin. We wanted to make sure someone didn't just get away with a theft like this, one that could be catastrophic to the coin. And morally, although I don't think morals necessarily apply to the blockchain, I felt better knowing that we didn't crash a $6 million economy. So I don't know if you want to say anything about it, Doug, but you're welcome to talk about it. You're muted, by the way. You need to unmute yourself.
Sorry. You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is what happened. And just so everybody knows, This was not an easy decision to make. This was a very difficult decision to make, and definitely the most painful thing we've had to do since we started VeriCoin, because it's a situation where we had to do something that is against the principle of the blockchain. However, what we did in doing that is preserve the rest of the blockchain. So basically, we're in a situation where we either had to abandon 12 to 18 hours of the blockchain, or for all intents and purposes, abandon the entire blockchain. Because if someone had 51% stake and this entity has not paid for it, which is a totally different scenario. Because if you attempt to buy 8 million coins, it's not going to be $2 million. It's going to be significantly more, because as you begin to buy it, the price would inevitably rise as you buy up the sell order. So this isn't comparable to a situation where someone is buying the coin in exchange. It's an extreme situation where suddenly, without any repercussions or any skin in the game, someone has potentially the power to manipulate the blockchain. Once the blockchain is manipulated, if that were to happen, then effectively the blockchain its purpose no longer exists. Security of the blockchain is the most essential thing that there is. And we basically decided that our options are this. We either abandon 12 to 18 hours or so of the blockchain, or we abandon the entire blockchain. That was basically, at the end of the day, those were our options. And a couple points. The 8 million coins were not, MintPal's coins. They were VeriCoin holders' coins. That's what they were. The unfortunate thing was that ultimately what happened was, due to the centralized nature of exchanges currently, the strengths of the decentralized blockchain were not present. So, and I take responsibility for not strongly suggesting further decentralization of the coin beyond the exchanges, meaning basically really being adamant about coin ownership in a decentralized form. And obviously, this whole situation is a wake-up call to actually the entire crypto community. But additionally, it's a wake-up call to POS coins, because in the case of proof-of-work coins, 51% manipulation of the blockchain can be done with computational power, and this does happen. The manipulation hasn't happened, but the 51% threshold has been reached previously, and this is a problem. In the case of proof-of-stake coins, it's the number of coins that matters, that are centralized to individual wallets. So in some senses, people don't often think about it this way, but proof-of-stake distribution is decentralized. Otherwise, the security of the blockchain does not exist. At the end of the day, as MintPal stated, it was their responsibility to protect VeriCoin holders' coins, and they've taken responsibility for the losses incurred during the rollback. But essentially, it was a painful decision to make, but it was the only decision we could make that didn't threaten the entire VeriCoin economy.
Yeah, I agree completely with what Doug said, and this whole decision was really, really difficult, but it was the one we thought was right, and the one we still think was right. So I know there's a lot of people who are firm believers in Satoshi's document and stuff, and that's fine. you know, we wish we didn't we didn't think we had to do this, but we did. So there's a few solutions that we can propose, to sort of prevent this from happening again. One, probably the most obvious, people say when a mining pool gets close to 30%, you don't allow them to mine anymore. So you tell people to don't go there. Perhaps we should make it, a requirement for exchanges to show what percentage of the total stake weight of coin they hold or something, and to stop allowing deposits after, it goes over a certain amount. That would basically negate the ability for an exchange to hold enough for a hacker to be able to get enough coins. And I think this is something we should all demand from exchanges for proof of stake coins, because some people have been saying that something called proof of stake 2.0, which is in Blackcoin, would have prevented this. Well, the fact of the matter is it would have helped and would have prevented it if it was like 2 million coins stolen. But because they got rid of something called coin age. But first, proof of stake 2.0 isn't active yet in Blackcoin. It won't hit until block like 300,000 or something like that. And probably more importantly, it wouldn't have helped in this case if they had the same numbers as VeriCoin, because 8 million coins was often more than the amount of coins being staked. If you look at the network stake weight over time, you'll see sometimes it dipped in 7 million or 6 million. So anytime it was down there and they staked, they could have 51% attacked. So it's really critical to know what would have protected against this. And really the best thing to protect against this is to not allow someone to have more than a certain number of coins. That would be the minimum for possibly attacking the coin. So there's probably other answers that could be put into the code. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna insert a comment here. One thing to note is that the ultimate solution to prevent this from happening again, long term, is decentralized exchanges. I mean, is utilize the security and the strength of decentralization. It's in some ways ironic that the coin itself was in no way compromised, yet due to a centralized entity that had too much coin, it was. So essentially, decentralization purity, as far as coin movement is concerned, as far as coin holding is concerned, as far as coin ownership is concerned, is absolutely essential, and this is strong evidence of that. And actually, I will say that if and this goes for all proof of stake coins in particular, but it also applies to proof of work coins as well. If you want to understand the risks that potentially are associated with a coin you're invested in, you should understand what the ownership structure is. If there's a small group of people, for instance, that are communing with each other in some way, and they own a significant share of the coin, which in this case it was the hacker, but it could be anything else, then the risks are higher significantly. And they're higher for proof of stake coins than proof of work coins. The risks in proof of work coins come with the computational power. And it's a similar risk scenario. It's just in a different form. But because proof of work coins, because Bitcoin started in 2009 and it's been the dominant currency, not everyone has a full understanding of the risks of the alternative, which is proof of stake. On average, actually, we have much closer. We have actually a significantly more decentralized coin structure, because maximally, aside from this hack, maximally we have had 16% or so of coin ownership relative to the total stake. So it's quite small. So in that sense, proof of stake is more decentralized, because we do not have pooled mining resources that are often approaching the 40s and sometimes the 50s. But what's essential to understand in case of a proof of stake coin is what is the ownership structure? Is the ownership structure such that a few people could say, hey, let's join wallets and let's do some fraud? Because at that point, the entire system is no good. So that's what we were preserving. We were preserving the fraudless strength of decentralization, and at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. When a coin is mature and the market is huge, and there's people from all over the world that own the coin, and they're from different nations, and they're from different political sects, and the distribution of the coin is diverse and wide, these types of risks are significantly decreased. The transparency is significantly higher. There's more eyes on the situation. But the reality is, in the early stages of a coin, the developers do have to cradle and protect the coin in the beginning, because there are significant threats to coins, and then this is a strong example. We ultimately aim to create a decentralized, strong coin that is widely diverse, as widely diverse as possible, because that makes for the strongest proof of stake coin. And at that point, first of all, this kind of action wouldn't be necessary, because there wouldn't be so much coin in one place. But when you're in the early stages of a coin's life, it can and does happen. And the other thing is, if the distribution was such that it was across the world, there wouldn't be a situation where people could make a modification to the coin, and then every sect, every group, every political background, every nation or something that represents that coin would agree on it. So remember, we made a choice to rescue the blockchain at the expense of the last 18 hours of it. But at all times, anyone can refuse to upgrade to our wallet, and that's your vote. So if the community doesn't want the developers to make some change to the coin, all they have to do is nothing. Don't upgrade. That even when the developers, especially in the early stages of a coin, in our case, had to take extreme action to prevent destruction. You always have the option to vote with your wallet on whether you upgrade, and that is always there, and people should know that.
So I think there's a couple things we've learned. One, if you have coins on an exchange for more than a day, you're not very smart about it. There's no reason you should hold coins on an exchange unless you're trading it frequently.
Oh, we lost Pat. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I'll pick up where Pat was leaving off. So in the short term, the solutions are this. If at the end of the day, Pat's coming back on.
Sorry,
at the end of the day, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing people should learn is don't trust exchanges with your money. I think people should have learned this after Mt. Gox, but they didn't, and this is something that people should now really learn.
Yeah, and
people,
to that point, I'll just say one thing. If you don't hold your private keys, for all intents and purposes, you potentially don't own your coin. I mean, that was made clear these past few days. The power of decentralized currency is that you don't have to depend on someone else to hold your private keys. So, I mean, to not utilize that is not taking advantage of what it is.
Yeah, that's very true. The other thing, Doug and I have talked about this. People have been asking, are you going to do this again if anything else like this happens? Well, frankly, if people are dumb enough to have that many coins on a wallet on an exchange, and they haven't learned the lesson from this time, I don't know if it's worth our time to even think about it. We are definitely not going to fork backwards like this ever again, because hopefully, if this ever does happen again, VeriCoin will be much stronger. People won't be recklessly keeping that much money's worth of coin on an exchange.
And at the end of the day, affecting the VeriCoin community potentially more than any other community, people have been scared straight. We are seeing it already in the network stake, significant staking. And so in a sense, as far as proof of stake coins go, we anticipate VeriCoin to actually be leading on decentralized coin holding and ultimately security. And as VeriCoin grows, the probability of this situation occurring again will get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And in some ways, we might be in an advantage compared to other coins because our community directly knows what the risks are.
Yeah. Another thing, MintPal has answered a lot of questions to us. They've shown us conclusive proof that there was a SQL injection attack, a database injection. But they really need to, in my opinion, step up to everyone in crypto, not just VeriCoin, and give a very concise and complete timeline of what happened, what their decisions were, what they plan on doing, and these are all things that they need to do. But of course, right now they're still busy refunding people that lost VeriCoin. But it would be good if everyone really pushes them to make sure that there's some really good documentation on their part, and make sure they're really doing everything they can. Something that TF2 Honey Badger, who works at Poloniex, said, he says he disagrees with our approach, making exchanges limit the amount of deposits, and that's fine. He can disagree, but he is right in saying that the whole crypto community really needs to force exchanges to prove their security and do a penetration test, and that is definitely really critical. I don't know. There's always penetration tests and that don't catch new exploits and stuff, but this is something that really needs to be done. Exchanges should, just like when Mt. Gox went down, exchanges need to prove that they have the amount of coin they say they have. If they say they use cold storage techniques, like MintPal did, they need to actually use cold storage techniques. But supposedly that's why the hackers weren't able to steal much Litecoin or Bitcoin. They tried to get those, but it looked like VeriCoin was the only one that was really not stored in a cold wallet well. These are all things that are really critical. We need to have audits of exchanges. If I'm never going to put my coins on an exchange where I'm not 100% sure they're safe, for example, and you shouldn't either. And we need to make sure that the places that are holding large U.S. dollar values of the coins are secure, and that people can't attack them like this. MintPal was the biggest exchange for all currencies in the U.S. And the U.K., and just because they had a nice interface, maybe for some other reasons, but people need to demand that every exchange, especially the ones that you're willing to use, is secure and safe. So I think this is something we need to talk to all of our exchanges about, and maybe we should be the leaders of this effort to make sure they're verifying that they are very secure, and that there's no issues with their security. So anyway, I guess there's not much more to say about the fork other than what we said. If there's any particular questions in the questions on Reddit, we'll answer them, and feel free to ask on the IRC channel or on Twitter, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. In addition,
real quick, one of the common questions today has been problems with upgrading, and there's a list of instructions that's required to do the upgrade properly, and it is all written out step by step for each operating system, Mac, Windows, and Linux. And if you go to the announcement thread on the Bitcoin Talk forum, you can also find the link on Twitter. there's a link to a Bitcoin Talk Forum post that details the instructions very clearly on how to do the upgrade from the older client so that you can get onto the new fork correctly. If you're having syncing problems, 99% of the time, it's going to be that the instructions were not completely followed because either you just never saw the instructions or you missed something. But basically, we're finding that if everyone follows the instructions, the wallet syncs up just fine. Although there is fewer wallets than there was before the fork because not everyone has upgraded. So there is potentially less connections you can make with your local network clients. To some extent, that'll get small. That'll be less and less common as the days progress. But no one, as far as I understand, apart from a few minor exceptions, which are special case scenarios, has had any problems if the directions are followed for the upgrade. But it is in this way a special upgrade.
Yeah, and one thing to note, sometimes, at least on Windows, you need to actually go and uninstall the old wallet software and then install the new one. The other thing is you should be checking the Bootstrap checkbox and waiting for an hour, which is about how long it takes for it to load fully, because that will ensure that you're on the right fork. Not only that, but make sure you delete every file except for wallet.dat in your directory, because you can be connected to old peers sometimes, which will make it look like you're not synced right. And then finally, I guess if you sent any transactions after the fork, sometimes you might need to salvage your wallet or basically reset it and get rid of all the transactions stored in it. But that's something coming to IRC would probably be the best way to get quick help with. So I guess that's. Do you have anything else to talk about regarding that, Doug?
No, yeah, I would say that if you have a special case scenario where you made a transaction after the hack, then there's a couple possibilities. One is essentially things should just go back to where they were before the hack. But any lost coin that's going from wallet to exchange during that period of time is going to be handled by MintPal, either directly because you're on MintPal exchange or through your exchange. MintPal is distributing coin losses to the exchanges that correspond to the transactions that took place in that period after the hack. If you're missing coins, they could very well be in your exchange because that's where they were before the hack. They also could be, in the reverse case scenario, they could actually be back in your wallet. But in some cases, your wallet thinks something went out because you sent it, although the blockchain is saying it didn't. And in that case, you might have to do a salvage wallet command, just basically to essentially reset your wallet's awareness of what actually happened. And there's a couple different ways to do that, and it depends on what the situation is. It's not difficult. It's not risky. But the best thing to do is to come into IRC, and there'll be people there. Me and Pat are there most of the time. And there's many other people in the community that will also help you. You just need to ask, especially in the chat room. You get the quickest response, and people can start a dialogue with you to figure out what your situation actually is. But for the most part, if your coins were in your wallet, you're good. You know what I mean? There was really no risk at all. If you moved coins from a wallet to an exchange during the time after the hack, then you might be in a special case scenario. But essentially, the coins go to where they were. So it's a manageable situation, and it's a very small period of time relative to to everything else.
So I guess before we get to the question and answer part, we have a few other announcements. One, we're going to Chicago for the North American Bitcoin Conference. It's really exciting. We have some meetings scheduled with various software and hardware providers, and we're really excited about that. Of course, with the everything that's going on right now, it's been very hectic. Doug and I haven't gotten very much sleep over the past few days. It's like the early days of VeriCoin. Kind of feels good. But we're not scared. We're going to lead VeriCoin in the right direction. Although I did offer on Charlie Lee's post in the Litecoin subreddit that if a majority of people do not want me to develop anymore, I'll be happy to step down. But hopefully that won't be the case. I know a lot of people aren't happy with our decision. Most of those people aren't VeriCoin people.
Right.
And you're free to sell the coin. You're free to not buy it if you don't agree with our decisions. But we think what we did was the right thing to do at that time. So, I'm sorry if you don't agree. Anyway, so as I said, we're going to the North American Bitcoin Conference on Friday, and we're really, really excited about that. We're going to be wearing our cool VeriCoin shirts, which we're going to be giving away, and this is for the next announcement. We have a party at the in New York City at the Bitcoin Center on July 28th. Is that right, Doug? 28th?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's July 28th, a Monday.
At 7 p.m. And we're going to have somewhere around 100 of these T-shirts to give away, so I'll show you again. They're pretty awesome. We're going to have some stickers to give away. A company is coming with some giveaways. I don't remember exactly what they're giving away. We're going to have pizza and beer, I think. My dad's band is actually going to be playing. Some pretty good classic rock covers. You can meet us. We're going to give a short talk about VeriCoin, talk about all the things we're building for it, and we're really excited about that. So I guess, obviously we had a nice timeline of things to come after VeriCoin, and this whole debacle has sort of pushed things back a little bit. We don't have any definite plans yet, but I can tell you by the time the Bitcoin conference starts, we'll have the Android wallet out for open beta testing on the Google Play Store. Of course, somewhere around 50 people have already been testing it that donated to get us to that conference. So we're really excited from the feedback we're hearing. We're improving the wallet. We updated the UI already, added Veribit functionality, etc. And it's really coming to become. It's becoming something really cool, very nice, easy to use, and something you can use to pay in VeriCoin or in Bitcoin anywhere you are, just on your phone. So it's really neat.
And also regarding the new wallet with the new UI and the VeriCoin fiat function, where you can easily buy VeriCoin or sell VeriCoin in your currency. There's a number of currencies that will be supported. Those two features will actually come at the same time. So we'll have the current wallet as it is, as far as technologically speaking, in addition to the VeriCoin fiat.
And we lost Doug.
Yeah, Doug's gone. Hopefully he'll be back, but he has a pretty nice expression on right now. I guess our plans for the fiat wallet, Moolah, it looks like has finished their exchange today. Finally, we were told, I think, on the 1st of the month that it would be ready on that day, but I think they're dealing with a lot of their own internal and external issues right now. So we'll start testing and hopefully be out very soon. So Doug, I was just telling them how Moolah is getting their. Okay, he's gone again. But yeah, that's still in the plans. We're working on it, and both of the things we announced will be out soon. And then we're going to get right on testing out the new GUI of the wallet, and then getting that out as soon as possible. But we don't really want to say any days because we're still trying to get people up on the correct fork right now. So we don't want users to migrate and then be confused about where their coins are because they're on some fork. And it's really something that we need to make sure isn't going to be a big hassle before we start moving people over to new systems. So Doug's face isn't moving anymore, but I guess he's back now. You there, Doug? Okay. Anyway, Will, you wanna read some of these questions people have asked on Reddit?
Yeah, I think you guys basically touched up on a lot of it about, talking about the hack, why you guys made your decision for the rollback and everything,
Okay. So
how to update and back up the wallet. There's some people that are needing some detailed instructions on that regarding, like salvaging the wallet and stuff like that. But I think that's something that they're probably going to have to come to IRC.
right.
And
Oh, I should mention, by the way, after everything happened, or actually while everything was happening, I had spoken to Langerhans, who's the primary Dogecoin developer, and he's a friend of mine. We go way back to the first Dogecoin days when I had the Doge Millionaire Club on IRC, and he was really helpful to us. So thanks a lot to him for giving us some moral support and some technological support through the new wallet release. It was really difficult to figure out, something that we had to learn how to do quickly was how to create a new fork. It's easy to take when there's two forks to choose a fork, but it's hard to engineer a new fork by yourself, and that's something I had to learn how to do quickly. And Langerhans helped figure out how to make sure we got old wallets not connecting to new wallets and stuff. So, big thanks to the Dogecoin community and to Langerhans. They already said they're not going to be doing any rollbacks like this, which makes sense. Their economy is much, much bigger, and they're not a proof-of-stake coin, so it's not really a potential victim of a theft like this. Also, a relative of mine, the Litecoin developer, Charlie Lee, was really helpful. We had a very long discussion yesterday chatting about the implications of stuff. He really brought up a lot of interesting points, like, what if MintPal put in a SQL injection site and use it to basically scam VeriCoin? And that's something that is definitely something that could happen in the future. It didn't happen this time, which is something that people need to think about if any other coin wants to roll back because of something like this. And it's also something that is going to make has convinced me that we shouldn't roll back in the future, because it's really something that can, really, assuming VeriCoin is worth enough and people are smart enough not to keep their coins on an exchange, it won't matter if a site does get hacked. That kind of quantity of coin couldn't be taken. But yeah, Charlie was really helpful with discussions, and I appreciate his criticisms on the Litecoin subreddit. It's a little bit different of a situation when you have a proof of work coin like Litecoin and a proof of stake coin like VeriCoin. But I definitely hold him in very high regard and take him seriously. So please don't go bashing him like I've seen a lot of people doing. He's very, very smart, and don't want to upset my family ties too. So sorry, Will, you want to keep going with the questions?
Yeah, looking through them.
Oh, so actually, I see one. What are the basic things users need to know after the incident? So the wallet version, the current wallet version is 1.3.3. Make sure it says that. If you don't see that, you have the wrong wallet version. You should be right now at block 109808, or maybe slightly further. By the time, if you're watching this later, it might be quite a bit further than that, but make sure, if you're listening right now, you're at 109,808 blocks. You also want to make sure that if you see any conflicted coins in your wallet, you can salvage your wallet and restart from scratch, or you can dump your private keys and import into a new wallet. That's something that you could do to fix your wallet. Sorry, keep going, Will.
Just looks like you guys actually looks like you guys pretty much touched up on everything. People asking about the fiat buying in the wallets, the ATMs, the whole fiasco with the hack and everything. Looks like you guys pretty much touched up on everything except for some user-specific questions for wallets.
All right, so I see some questions that you're not mentioning.
Which
okay,
one?
so JT Brain asks, what do you do for fun?
Oh, that one.
Okay, so I guess this will be a fun way to learn about the developers. Doug, you want to go first? What do you do for fun?
Well, I used to do music for fun, actually, but for some reason, once I started programming, I stopped doing music. I think at the end of the day, I think I would write songs. I do it a little bit now, but I think at the end of the day, essentially what I was doing when I was creating songs was building patterns, and essentially what I'm doing now, programming, is also building patterns. So whatever the case may be, my fun is actually programming. My fun used to be music before that, and I think there's some interesting connections there. But that's I'm also, I mean, I honestly, I'm in science because I think that's fun too. I really enjoy, trying to look at things from many different perspectives and understand potentially the most objective understanding I can have of a given thing.
Cool. All right. So me, well, I don't know if anyone knows, but so I'm a graduate student at Rutgers. Here's my student ID. You can see I'm actually a graduate student. It says I graduated in 2017, but I'm hoping to be done in 2015. It'll be nice to make everyone call me doctor. Other than that, that takes up most of my time, but I'm also a scuba diver. This is my scuba certification card. You can see it's got me on it. So I really like water things. I also boat sometimes. In addition, probably my primary hobby is car racing. I have a very fast BMW that pretty much all of my life savings has gone into, and is a really, really fun car to drive on a track in autocross. I like just so you guys know, if you ever want to race me, make sure your car hits 60 in less than 3 seconds, because yeah, it's pretty quick. So all right, I see actually a couple questions on IRC that I'll quickly answer. So is Veribit working now? Veribit, we're not going to turn back on until people have migrated to the new wallet, as in a lot of people, because the way it works is there's an API that the wallet connects through, and if you're on an old wallet, it'll still connect to the API. It just will basically annoy our servers, and it actually won't really do much, but it'll just make our server create new wallet addresses, which is kind of annoying. So we're not going to turn it on for a few days. And what about Veripool? We're making sure Veripool is up and such that we can trade for VeriCoin reliably. And some of the exchanges aren't back up that we use for exchange from coins to VeriCoin. So we want to make sure we have it all ready so that we don't waste anyone's hash power. Let's see, what else? I think I saw some other questions that were interesting. Occasionally I play guitar too, as you can see. There's a couple guitars.
Yeah, some people were saying we need a hangout guitar intro by you.
I don't feel confident enough in my guitar abilities to do that. So here's a really critical question that people have been asking, and we sort of haven't been talking about much. Has Bristol PR communicated a strategy to you yet? Anything to share regarding that? So
yeah, I was going to bring that up.
So this is actually really interesting. Bristol has been paid by Joel Bosch, and basically he wanted to help fund us with a PR agency. One thing that PR agencies do is they try to decide whether they'll be useful or not in a field, and Bristol decided that they don't think they can handle representing VeriCoin. And that's partially because they're not very familiar with cryptocurrencies, and partially because the nature of crypto and the openness allows for people to bash it, and they didn't like, basically the role of a PR company is to stop people from bashing it, and that's something they didn't feel confident in doing. So unfortunately for us, and this made us very sad, they sort of refused to represent VeriCoin. And this wasn't a matter of Joel not paying, because they actually cashed his check, and then for some reason, I don't understand why they did that. but they told us they would represent us, and then basically they sent in an email to us and didn't answer our phone calls, saying basically that they couldn't do it and there's just too much bashing. They didn't think they could help the image enough, and that it just wasn't something that they were able to handle right now. So it's sad.
I think on that point, I would just say that there's they do represent some major clients, and crypto in some ways is like the wild west. In a way, it's a new frontier, and it is for a PR company more than any company in a way. It's a new frontier. Because of the nature of a frontier. I think that it's definitely unfortunate for us that they're not working with us, but I do understand their predicament, and we are implementing Plan B, and also making a new Plan A. And we'll get into details of that, but we plan. We will be releasing details about that. But the sum of the matter is, we think that actually the new implementation of our public relations will actually be stronger in a more diversified approach, and we will get into that. But first, we're going to basically just stabilize the network, make sure the network is stable, make sure everyone's got their wallets. Make sure everything's running strong. Get the services back up. Get Veribit back up. Get the pool back up. Get the Android wallet out. Get the VeriCoin Fiat new UI wallet out. Do all these things as quickly as we possibly can without compromising quality, and then we will begin to talk about how we will be presenting ourselves to the world. But there's a lot of exciting things regarding that we'll be talking about.
So there's a question on the IRC channel. Do we patent anything? I don't personally believe in software patents, and that would be really very much against the nature of cryptocurrency. So no, we did not, and I don't think we ever plan on doing anything like that. I don't think Doug Gray has anything to say about that either. So I guess we'll just go to the next. Is that true, Doug? Do you have any? You haven't patented anything without telling me, right?
No.
No. Okay. Another question on the Reddit. What is the mood of the developers after this debacle? Well, I personally am very, very tired. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I'm very sleepy, and I haven't slept well in the past few days, so I'm going to sleep like crazy. That's why I haven't been answering so many questions. I got over like 250 emails today asking me how to fix wall problems, and one person won our Veripool contest, and won a Blizzard, and he was giving me details, and I sort of stopped replying because this whole thing happened, and he said, if you're not gonna this is the last time I'm gonna try to talk to you. If you can't answer me, this is it. I was like, man, I'm really sorry. I've had a lot on my plate. And same goes to the people I haven't replied to on IRC or Twitter. Sorry, but hopefully we'll see them. But if not, just resend them after this whole thing boils down a little bit. It's been a very rough few days for us. So Doug, how you coping? What's your mood like?
I mean, like I said, it was painful to do the rollback. It was, but the alternative was exponentially more painful. So it's not something that we feel good about, but we're glad that that we could preserve and protect VeriCoin and prevent attacks on it. And we hope that people in the crypto community, especially the non-VeriCoin holders, because they didn't gain anything per se from our rollback. We hope that they can understand what our predicament was, what our position was, and why we did what we did. Another thing I will mention, though, regarding that is, had nothing been done, VeriCoin aside, we've discussed that, MinPal would have been in a very, very, very difficult financial position. That ultimately would have resulted in devastating blows to not just our coin, but presumably other coins, because the financial situation they would have been in would have really had a wide-reaching effect. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we did the rollback because of the attack potential, but we also, because we had to prevent an attack on the blockchain due to these extenuating circumstances, we also did mitigate very, very intense circumstances that would have related to any MintPlow user. And ultimately, we that's not why we did it, but we hope that everyone can understand what the situation was, and we are, as you see here, we're very willing to discuss and debate the pros and cons, and at the end of the day, because this happened, this is a discussion that needs to occur, and everyone needs to know, what the probabilities are. But I, for one, believe that actually coming through this circumstance, that can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I for one believe that coming through this circumstance, that a VeriCoin is actually.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, a VeriCoin is actually stronger. The network will have an even better stake weight. The interest rates will be higher for everyone. The blockchain will be more decentralized. People will be more aware of what the risks are of centralized coin storage and what the risks are of not having your own private keys. So in my perception, this actually is going to result in a strengthening of VeriCoin, and in that sense, I feel good.
So, all right, there's a couple of questions people have asked on YouTube. I guess we could go quickly over before this. Let's see. So someone says, so you guys have no hesitations on hard forking the next time this happens? Well, as we said in the beginning of the video, we are not ever going to do this again. There's a saying, screw you once, shame on you, screw you twice, shame on me. If people don't learn now to not keep their coins on an exchange, then maybe VeriCoin deserves to go down if someone does this again. It's actually a scary thought, but I really hope it doesn't happen. But no.
And at the end of the day, I think if you actually look at the situation objectively, the probability of this happening to us again has dropped incredibly. If you actually look at the numbers, from our stake weight, from people's perception of the POS stake system, from the understanding of the coin distribution, how heavy the top is versus where is the coin? Is the coin heavy at the top? Is it, all these things people are hyper aware of in our community. So I think if you objectively look at actually the situation, the probability of this happening to us again is dropping really, really fast. However, other proof of stake coins that haven't experienced this, I hope that they have paid attention to what happened here, and can apply this understanding of the proof of stake system and of what the risks are of not having your private keys and holding your coins on an exchange, and mitigate the risks for their own coins and community as well.
Okay, there's another guy who says, MintPow is staking my coin, definitely not going to trust leaving my coin there. That's not true. MintPow is not staking the coins. You can look through the blockchain. They have never staked any coins. People think they did maybe because they had a hot wallet, but if you look at the history of all the coins, there hasn't been any coins staked from them. So, it was just really bad security where they didn't have it in a cold wallet. It wasn't them staking it. Um, so people are saying, when's MinPal going to reinstate VeriCoin transactions? I don't know. Maybe never. Yeah, it's easy to use, but do you really trust them after this? I don't know.
Well, they're gonna. I mean, they're gonna open up transactions for withdrawal for sure. I mean, basically, what's going on right now over there, as far as we really after this issue was resolved, we haven't really been in communication with them because they got their own thing going on at this point. But basically, they are in you know. Trying to basically set up their system in the context of this situation. So, I mean, although it's unfortunate that they're not active fully yet, and I'm not sure people have been able to withdraw yet. I'm not sure, but at the same time, you definitely want them to make sure that they've got a solid patch on the security hole and have looked beyond what they could potentially foresee as far as future security holes before they start opening the situation up. But at the same time, I will say that just to reiterate, there is absolutely no vulnerability in VeriCoin that led to this, and MinPal, I'm glad to say, made a clear note of that in their statement. The attacker clearly wanted VeriCoin. The reasons we don't know, but the security hole had nothing to do with our coin. Our coin was just the desired target, and MinPal was very clear about that.
Yeah. So.
IRC's clamoring for a Wall Street update. Just thought I should point that out. A lot of people are asking about that.
I don't even know what that means, but
about the meeting you guys had on Wall Street.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Sorry,
okay.
that really wasn't. We're not able to disclose any details about that.
Ooh, ominous. I like it.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we met with someone at a bank, and he heard us, and that's sort of it. They will decide what they want to do themselves. I'm sure this whole thing is going to play an important role in what different investment groups and what different people that like VeriCoin and stuff decide to do with it. But it's up to them. We can't really talk about our meeting besides the fact that we had one. By the way, Doug, MintPal is allowing withdrawals of VeriCoin, so that's good.
Okay. Okay. So if you had then just to be clear, if you had coin on MintPal before the hack took place, which was 2:30 around 2 a.m. something around 2 a.m. Eastern time, the day before yesterday, I believe it is. If you had coins there, then they're there. If you withdrew them from the time after the hack, then they're still there. So go to your MintPal account because it reverted back to that point. And yeah, as Pat said, you could go withdraw your coins.
All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything that was asked. Let me take one quick last look and see if there's anything. Yeah, people are asking what we think the value of the coin is going to be. I don't know. I'm not a person who can tell you that.
We can't really speculate on that.
Hopefully it goes up. That's all I don't know. Doug, are you better at Oracle than I am? I don't think so.
I mean, we can't predict the price, nor should we really. But I will say that what we're doing is going to benefit the price. What our plans are, what we have in our trajectory. I'm 100% confident that it's going to benefit the price. But at the same time, markets are markets. There's an ebb and flow. But this has not taken steam out of our engine at all. So we're going to work harder, actually.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything. I need to get some sleep. I know Doug does too. So, thanks guys for tuning in. It looks like there's a lot of viewers, somewhere around 180, I think, at one time. So hopefully we answered your questions. If you have any more specific questions, you're free to ask us on Twitter or elsewhere. But you know, we're sorry that we had to be put into this kind of situation. But it's actually remarkable that no other coin has been faced with this exact problem before, which was a combination, a huge hack and a potential 51% attack all rolled into one, and we were fast enough to be able to prevent it. And I think really it would almost be I would not be able to live with myself if we knew we could have done something about it with very few, besides philosophical, a few financial repercussions, and did nothing about it and just watched $6 million market cap just disappear and make people lose a ton of money, and that we could have fixed. So,
right. And one note I will say is that in our decision making was the probability that we had to figure of the motivations of the hacker. And if your hack is to make money on stealing coins, one of the first things you're going to do is, because time is of the essence when you steal something, especially when it's coin, is going to be to exchange it, is going to be to unload it. And it wasn't unloaded. So basically all the evidence that we have, aside from other potential circumstances that may have prevented the hacker from doing what they wanted, all the evidence pointed to this was potentially an intended attack, and in that sense, it was our duty as developers of a new growing currency to make sure that they couldn't destroy the coin. It's as simple as that.
yeah. All right. One last thing before we go. There's a campaign on thunderclap.it, which is a website where basically you can sign up and commit to tweeting something when enough people commit to it. To tweet about us when we're at the Bitcoin conference and hope to get some publicity out of it. So please, if you could, go to thunderclap.it and support the campaign for VeriCoin. You can just search VeriCoin at the top. There's 3 campaigns. If you could do that for us, that would be awesome. It really help us out. Chris Perillo is doing it, so you can say you thunderclap something with Chris. You know, that'd be cool. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully it won't have to be so somber next time. And, of course, we're going to be doing this from the Bitcoin conference, so we'll have a nice Google Hangout again, sort of welcoming everyone to the conference.
Awesome.
All right, take care, guys. Have a good night.
All right, see y'all later.
Good night, guys.